what if I told you something really strange? Something that might sound completely backwards at first, but could change everything about how women see you. What if I told you that the more you try to make a woman like you, the more she actually starts losing interest? Wait, what? That doesn't make sense, right? You've probably heard your whole life that if you like someone, you should show it. Give them attention. Text them a lot. Buy them gifts. Be really nice. Go out of your way to make them happy. That's what they say love is, right? But here's the thing. That advice, it's broken. It doesn't work the way you think. Let me tell you a little story. Imagine this. You meet a girl. She's beautiful. She's smart. She makes you smile just by walking into the room. You start talking. She laughs at your jokes. You feel something, a spark. So what do? You go all in. You text her first every day. You reply in seconds. You plan dates. You tell her how amazing she is. You try to be the perfect guy. You make her your world. But something weird starts to happen. She starts replying slower. She seems a little less excited. She says she's busy. She doesn't call like she used to. And suddenly, it feels like she's slipping away. And you sit there thinking, what did I do wrong? I did everything right. I showed her I care. I gave her my time. I gave her my attention. I gave her my heart. But that's the problem. You gave too much, too fast, too soon. You made her your number one priority. Before she ever earned that spot, you forgot the most powerful secret when it comes to attraction. Attraction is not built through chasing. It's built through presence and space. Let me explain. Think about fire. A small fire needs air to grow. If you throw too much wood on it right away, what happens? It dies. But if you give it space, feed it slowly, let it breathe, it grows into something strong, something hot, something that draws people in. That's how attraction works. When you chase, when you crowd her, when you give everything away, you're not giving love. You're giving pressure, and pressure kills attraction. But when you stand still, when you live your life, when you create space, that's when curiosity grows. That's when she starts to wonder about you. That's when she starts thinking about you. Not because you're always there, but because you're not. You're not texting all day. You're not proving your worth. You're just living. Living in your purpose. Focused on your goals. Calm. Collected. And not in a rush to win anyone over. You're not ignoring her. You're just not chasing. And guess what? That's what makes you attractive. That's what makes you powerful. That's what brings her closer. Because when a woman sees that you don't need her attention to feel good about yourself, she starts to want your attention more. Not because you played a game, not because you pulled some trick, but because you're a man who knows his worth. And that is irresistible. So if you're tired of always being the guy who tries too hard, if you're done getting hurt by giving everything away, then this is your time. Time to train your mind. Time to step into your power. Time to understand the truth about attraction. No more chasing, no more proving, no more begging for love. This is about calm. This is about space. This is about being the kind of man who makes a woman want to come closer, without ever asking her to. And now that you know this strange secret, let's talk about something nobody warns you about. Chasing love doesn't make you feel loved. It actually does the opposite. It leaves you tired, confused, and alone. But why? Because chasing means this. You believe someone else has something you need. You believe you must go to them to feel enough. You believe that without their attention, you have no value. That's heavy, right? But most men don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're being romantic. They think they're just showing effort. But the truth is, most chasing is fear in disguise. Fear of losing her. Fear of not being picked. Fear of not being good enough. And when fear is driving you, you stop being the man you truly are. You stop being calm. You stop being solid. You start reacting. You become needy. You overthink your texts. You ask if she still likes you. You wait by your phone. You put your life on pause for a girl who's still deciding. And guess what happens when you chase from fear? She senses it. Even if you don't say a word, she feels it. Women are naturally drawn to strength, but not the loud kind. Not the fake kind. They're drawn to emotional strength. And fear doesn't feel strong. Fear makes you act small. Fear makes you want something more than you value yourself. But here's what most men never hear. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You don't have to prove your worth to be loved. And more importantly, you can walk away from anything that doesn't value you. Think about how that feels. Not desperate, not begging, not stuck in overthinking. Just peaceful. Now I want you to imagine this. You stop chasing. You stop texting first all the time. You stop planning your life around her. And instead, you start focusing on yourself. You go to the gym because you want to be stronger. You build your career because you want to grow. You make time for your friends, your hobbies, your purpose. You don't disappear. You just stop handing over your energy to people who haven't earned it. And slowly, things start to change. You feel better, more calm, more clear. And suddenly, she notices. She senses that shift. You're no longer looking at her like she's your whole world. Because now, you have your own world. You don't chase love anymore. You live your life. And love follows you. That's power. That's peace. And that's how attraction really begins. So now let's take this even deeper. There's something most guys never think about. Something quiet. Something invisible. But incredibly powerful. It's not a trick. It's not a game. It's not about making her jealous. It's something deeper. Something that changes how she feels when you're not around. That something is absence. Not ignoring. Not pulling back. Not acting cold or rude. Just honest absence. The kind that happens when you're focused on your life, The kind that happens when you're not always available. The kind that says, I care about you, but I also care about myself. Let me explain how this works. Have you ever eaten your favorite food every single day? At first, it's amazing, tastes great, makes you happy. But then something changes. You stop getting excited about it. You stop craving it because it's always there. It becomes normal, ordinary, expected. Now imagine you take a break. You don't eat it for a week or 2 weeks. Suddenly you start thinking about it again. Your mouth waters. You remember how good it was. You start wanting it, even more than before. That's the power of absence. It makes space for appreciation to grow. It creates desire. But most guys never give a woman that space. They're always texting, always asking to hang out, always checking in. Not because they're bad guys, but because they're scared. Scared of losing her. Scared of being forgotten. But here's the truth. People don't forget the ones who made them feel something deep. People forget the ones who never gave them a chance to miss them. So when you step away, not to play games, but to live, you give her the gift of missing you. Not in a cold way, not in a mean way, but in a real, natural way. You go to the gym. You work on your business. You learn something new. You focus on your mission. You hang out with your friends. You do things that fill you up. You become busy with purpose. And in that space, she starts to wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Why does he feel so different? And that's when attraction builds. Not from what you say, but from what you don't need to say. You're not chasing. You're not proving. You're just moving forward. And your absence becomes a message. A silent, powerful message that says, I like you, but I won't lose myself for you. You matter to me, but I still matter to me too. That kind of energy, it's magnetic. It draws people in. Because in a world full of men trying to please everyone, a man who creates space stands out. A man who knows when to step back so he can step forward in his purpose is the man she can't stop thinking about. So if you want to stop feeling invisible, don't beg for attention. Don't over-explain. Don't overgive. Start becoming scarce in the right way. Let your absence speak for you. Now here's the real question. Do you want to learn how to build the kind of life that makes absence happen naturally and keeps her attention forever? Let's talk about something crucial that every man should understand. Self-worth. It's something that's often misunderstood. Most guys think that self-worth comes from the outside, from getting praise, from winning awards, from buying cool stuff, from having women like them. But that's not where real self-worth comes from. Here's the truth. Self-worth is built from the inside. And when you don't know your own worth, you'll end up chasing the wrong things. You'll end up looking for validation from everyone around you. You'll start thinking that other people, especially women, have the power to make you feel valuable. But here's the problem with that. When you give someone else the power to make you feel good about yourself, you give them control. And when someone else has control over how you feel, you're in danger. Why? Because it's like you're constantly seeking something outside yourself to feel whole. You'll always be running after approval. You'll always feel like you're not enough unless you get it. But here's the kicker. Women know when a man doesn't have his own self-worth. They sense when a man is only seeking validation, only trying to impress. And that's not attractive. So what's the alternative? Building your own self-worth, independent of others. When you truly know your worth, you don't need anyone to tell you how great you are. You already know it. It's a quiet confidence that comes from being content with who you are. When you're solid in your self-worth, you don't need to chase her for attention. You don't need to prove you're the best. You don't need her to make you feel like you matter. Instead, you matter already. You're enough, just as you are. Now let me break it down for you. When women see that you don't need their attention to feel good about yourself, it's incredibly attractive. Why? Because women want to be part of a man's life, but not the center of it. You see, women don't want to be the reason a man wakes up, works hard, or lives his life. They want to be part of a man's already full life, a life that has meaning, a life that's driven by purpose. When a man lives for something greater than just pleasing her, she finds that exciting. Why? Because purpose is magnetic. So how do you build that self-worth? It's simple but powerful. Stop seeking approval from others. Start working on yourself because you want to, not to impress anyone. Do things that challenge you. Learn, grow, build your own life that makes you proud. When you're in a space where you're confident and comfortable with yourself, you stop looking for others to validate you. You start living for you. And women, they notice. Because in a world full of men who are chasing validation and trying to impress, a man who knows his worth is a breath of fresh air. So now think about it. Are you ready to stop looking for approval from others and start building your self-worth from within? Are you ready to become the kind of man who draws people to him without ever needing their approval? Let's dive deeper into how you can unlock your inner strength and become the man who has everything without ever trying too hard. Here's something most men never think about when it comes to attraction. Scarcity. It's a word that scares a lot of people because they immediately think it means being rude or playing mind games. But it's not about games at all. Scarcity simply means being less available. And I don't mean disappearing for days or acting like you don't care. I'm talking about living a full life, being busy with your purpose, and not constantly being there for everyone else. Think about it. When something is scarce, it becomes more valuable. Have you ever noticed how special something is when it's hard to get? Maybe it's a rare collectible or a limited edition item. It's harder to find, so it becomes more desirable. The same principle applies to people. If you're always available, always saying yes to everyone, always giving your attention and energy without limits, then you become like that overproduced item. You're everywhere. You're easy to get. And when something is too easy to get, it loses value. But when you become scarce in the right way, you increase your value. You stop being someone who can be taken for granted. You stop being someone who is always there to please. Here's the key. Scarcity isn't about being distant or cold. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about living a life that's so full, so focused on your own purpose, that you simply don't have time to give away your attention to everyone. Here's how scarcity works in real life. You have your own plans. You're busy with your goals, hobbies, and passions. You're not sitting around waiting for someone to fill your time. You don't respond immediately. It's not because you're ignoring anyone, but because you're doing your own thing. Your life is not on pause while you wait for someone else's approval. You prioritize your needs. When something matters to you, you make time for it. And when you don't have time, you don't make excuses or rearrange everything just to please others. This simple approach of having a full life does wonders. It makes you interesting. It makes you unique. It makes you the kind of person who doesn't have to chase, but is chased. Why is this so attractive to women? Because women are naturally drawn to men who have their own lives, their own interests, and their own sense of purpose. They don't want to be your whole world. They want to be a part of it. Think about it. If you're always around, always available, always chasing, it creates a sense of neediness. Neediness is not attractive. But when you have a life full of meaning and you're a little harder to get, it shows you don't need anyone to complete you. You're already complete. That's what makes you attractive. Now let me be clear about something important. Scarcity doesn't mean disappearing on purpose to make her chase you. It doesn't mean acting disinterested just to play hard to get. It's simply about living your life with purpose and passion, so that you're not constantly at someone else's beck and call. When you become this man, the one with his own goals, his own time, and his own mission, women will notice you. They'll want to know what you're about. They'll want to be part of your world. And the best part? You won't need to convince them. Your life and the way you live will do all the talking. So think about your life right now. Are you living with purpose? Are you filling your time with activities that bring you joy, fulfillment, and growth? Or are you always available to others, giving up your time just to please people? If you want to increase your value and become irresistibly attractive, start practicing scarcity in the healthiest way possible. Live for yourself, build your own life, and watch as others, especially women, start noticing you. Now, let's dive into a topic that's crucial if you want to be the kind of man who exudes attraction without even trying. Emotional mastery. This is a game changer. Most people don't understand what emotional mastery really is. When they think about controlling their emotions, they might picture someone who's cold, distant, or unable to express themselves. But that's not what emotional mastery means at all. Emotional mastery is the ability to respond to situations with calmness and clarity, rather than being swept away by your feelings. Think about it. How many times have you gotten angry, frustrated, or upset in a situation, only to later regret it? Or maybe you've found yourself getting anxious about something that wasn't even important in the long run. These emotional reactions can make you feel out of control, and they can also make you look weak or unstable to others. No one wants to be around someone who is constantly controlled by their emotions. Here's the thing. When you can control your emotions, you become like a rock, stable, steady, unshakable. Women are naturally drawn to men who can stay calm under pressure. When everything around you is chaotic and you stay calm, it shows strength. It shows confidence. But let's be clear. Emotional mastery doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It doesn't mean pretending to be tough all the time. It means you acknowledge your emotions and then choose how to respond to them. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond thoughtfully. For example, if you feel angry, you don't lash out. You take a moment, breathe, and decide whether the situation is really worth your energy. You make a conscious choice to keep your peace and stay in control. That's emotional mastery, and here's why it's so attractive. It shows strength. Women find it incredibly attractive when a man can stay composed in stressful situations. It signals that he's in control of himself, and that's a rare quality. It creates stability. When you're emotionally stable, you're not a roller coaster ride of emotions that others have to tiptoe around. People feel safe and secure around you, which is magnetic. It builds trust. People trust someone who doesn't overreact or let their emotions get the best of them. When you stay calm, you're someone others can rely on, and that's a trait that's highly valued. Let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine you're in a storm. If you're being tossed around by the waves, constantly reacting to every little gust of wind, it's hard to find your balance. But if you're the anchor in the storm, steady and grounded, no matter how rough the waves get, you stay calm. That's the kind of man who is attractive. Here's how you can start practicing emotional mastery. Pause before reacting. When you feel a strong emotion rising up, pause. Take a deep breath. Reflect on your feelings. Ask yourself, is this really important? What's the best way to respond? Focus on the bigger picture. Instead of getting lost in the moment, remember your long-term goals and the person you want to be. Don't let a temporary feeling take you off track. Emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means you get to decide how to respond to them rather than letting them control you. The more you practice this, the more people, especially women, will see you as someone who is strong, steady, and attractive. They'll be drawn to your calm presence, your ability to stay composed, and your emotional intelligence. Because here's the truth. Strong, emotionally stable men are rare, and being rare makes you highly attractive. So how can you start practicing emotional mastery today? What's one situation where you can pause, reflect, and choose a calm response instead of reacting? Think about it. Your emotional control will make all the difference in how people see you and how you see yourself. Are you ready to take control of your emotions and become the kind of man who exudes strength and stability? We've talked a lot about emotional mastery, scarcity, and detachment. But now it's time to dive into one of the most important qualities that will make you irresistibly attractive. Genuine confidence. This is the real deal. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't come from pretending or acting like someone you're not. It's the kind of confidence that comes from knowing who you are and being comfortable with it. Genuine confidence is magnetic. You know, the kind of person who walks into a room and everyone notices. That's confidence, but not the fake kind. This is the kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud. It's quiet, calm, and incredibly powerful. Here's why genuine confidence is so important. When you're truly confident, you don't need validation from others. You don't need people to tell you how great you are, because you already know it. You don't need to show off or seek attention. You just are. But how do you develop this kind of confidence? Here's the secret. Confidence comes from competence. When you're good at something, whether it's a skill, a talent, or even just knowing your worth as a person, that creates real, lasting confidence. Let's break this down a bit more. 1. Self-approval. Genuine confidence starts with self-approval. This means accepting yourself for who you are, flaws and all. It means not needing anyone else to tell you that you're enough, because you've already decided that you are. If you're always seeking approval from others, you'll never feel truly confident. But if you approve of yourself, that's the foundation of real confidence. When you walk into a room knowing that you have nothing to prove, you automatically become more attractive. Second, competence. Competence is about being good at something. This could be your career, your hobbies, your ability to take care of yourself. Anything that shows you are capable and self-sufficient. When you're competent, you don't need to worry about what others think of you, because you know you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. Women are naturally drawn to men who are competent because they know that competence equals security. A man who is capable can take care of himself, and that creates stability. This is what makes confidence so attractive. It creates trust. When women see that you are self-sufficient and reliable, they feel safe and secure in your presence. 3. Authenticity. Genuine confidence also comes from being your true self. When you stop pretending to be someone you're not, you unlock a whole new level of attraction. The truth is, people can sense inauthenticity. If you're pretending to be someone you're not, whether it's trying to act tough, rich, or more popular than you really are, people can tell. And that's a huge turnoff. But when you embrace who you really are, flaws and all, you become incredibly attractive. Why? Because authenticity is rare. Most people are too afraid to be themselves. But when you show up as your true self, without pretending or hiding anything, you stand out. 4. Calm. Confidence in action. One of the most attractive things about confident people is the way they act. They don't rush, they don't panic, and they don't try to impress others. They move with purpose. They speak slowly and clearly. They don't over-explain themselves or seek approval. Genuine confidence allows you to act with purpose. When you have something to say, you say it. When you have a decision to make, you make it. And when something doesn't matter, you let it go. This kind of calm, purposeful confidence is something people notice. It's not about being cocky or arrogant. It's about having trust in yourself and your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. Here's the best part. You don't have to be perfect to be confident. You don't need to have everything figured out or be the best at everything. You just need to believe in your own worth, work on your skills, and be authentic in who you are. When you start to develop genuine confidence, you'll notice something amazing happens. You stop chasing people for validation. You stop worrying about whether others like you. You stop seeking approval. Instead, you attract the right people to you. And yes, women will start to notice you in a completely new way. Because confidence isn't about showing off or pretending. It's about being real, being competent, and being comfortable in your own skin. And that kind of confidence is truly irresistible. So ask yourself, do I approve of myself just as I am? What am I good at, and how can I use my skills to boost my self-confidence? Am I being authentic and true to myself, or am I pretending to be someone I'm not? Start practicing these steps and watch how your confidence grows. And with it, your irresistible attraction. Ready to take your confidence to the next level and become a man who naturally attracts attention and respect? You've learned about emotional mastery, the power of scarcity, and how to develop genuine confidence. Now, let's explore one of the most crucial ingredients in becoming irresistibly attractive: purpose. Purpose isn't just something you find or figure out once and for all. It's not a destination. It's a journey. But let me tell you, purpose is magnetic. When you have a clear sense of direction in life, you naturally become more attractive to others. Why? Because when you have purpose, you stop seeking validation. You're not waiting around for someone to give your life meaning. You've already given it meaning yourself. And that confidence is something others can sense and admire. Let's break down how purpose makes you irresistible. 1. Purpose makes you stand out. Think about the people you've been drawn to in your life. What made them different? Chances are, those people had a clear sense of purpose. They knew what they were about, and they weren't afraid to follow their path, no matter what. Now think about how that applies to attraction. When a man knows his purpose, he's not easily swayed by external influences. He's not chasing approval, not distracted by what others think. Instead, he stays true to his goals and values, and that's incredibly attractive. Why? Because people, especially women, want to be around someone who has direction. When you have purpose, you show that you are in control of your life. You're not waiting for life to tell you what to do. You know where you're headed, and you're committed to getting there. This kind of direction gives you a natural strength that people can't ignore. 2. Purpose brings you inner peace. Here's the thing. When you have a purpose, you naturally feel more at peace with yourself and your life. Why? Because purpose reduces uncertainty. Instead of wandering around trying to figure out who you are or what you're supposed to be doing, your purpose gives you clarity. It's like having a compass, a direction that helps guide you through life's challenges. When things get tough, you know that your purpose will help you keep moving forward. And women find this inner peace attractive. A man who is at peace with himself and his life is not only stable, but also calm under pressure. This peace of mind makes you a man who others want to be around. You become a rock, steady, grounded, and sure of yourself. 3. Purpose makes you less available, but in a good way. Remember when we talked about the power of scarcity? Purpose is the ultimate form of scarcity. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you prioritize your goals and passions above everything else. Your time is valuable and you use it wisely. This doesn't mean you ignore other people, but it does mean that you're not available all the time. Your time is reserved for things that matter to you, and people can sense that. The more dedicated you are to your purpose, the more attractive you become, because you don't need anyone's approval. Women are drawn to men who are focused on their goals. Why? Because it shows that you have ambition, discipline, and drive. All qualities that are incredibly attractive. When you're always available or constantly seeking validation, you lose that sense of mystery and value. But when you focus on your purpose, you become a man who values himself and his time. 4. Purpose leads to long-term success. One of the most attractive things about a man with purpose is that he's committed to growth. A man with a sense of purpose doesn't settle for mediocrity. He's always striving to be better in his career, his health, his relationships, and his life overall. When you have purpose, you're not just moving through life aimlessly. You're working towards something. You're building your future, step by step. And women are naturally attracted to men who are growing. Growth signals strength and stability. And those are the traits that create lasting attraction. 5. Purpose is about more than just career or success. Let's be clear. Purpose isn't just about your job or how much money you make. While career and financial success can be important, your purpose is much deeper than that. Purpose comes from your values, your passions, and your mission in life. It's about what drives you, what excites you, and what makes you feel fulfilled. If you're living a life that aligns with your deepest values and passions, that purpose will radiate from you. You'll be a man who is passionate about life, and that energy will attract others, especially women. How to develop purpose in your life. So how do you find your purpose? It's a question that many people struggle with, but it's actually simpler than it seems. Here's what you can do. Reflect on your values. What do you believe in? What's important to you? When you understand your core values, it becomes easier to align your actions with your purpose. Set goals. Having a purpose means having goals. Set clear, specific goals for your life and work toward them every day. Pursue your passions. What makes you excited? Whatever your passion is, dive into it. Whether it's a hobby, a career, or a cause, pursuing something that excites you brings clarity and direction. Live with intention. Purpose isn't about achieving something in the future. It's about how you live today. Live each day with intention and focus on moving forward in the direction of your goals. Purpose makes you magnetic because it shows the world that you are not just existing. You are living with intention and direction. When you have purpose, you'll naturally become more attractive because you have clarity, focus, and drive. Your life has meaning, and that meaning will draw others to you.